A couple years down the road, you feel the heat of the day come pouring out of your car as you open up the driver's side door. You kind of grimace at just how hot it is come inside of there. You get in, you start the car, you turn the AC on, you pop the hatch, and you start loading your son's bags into the back
Oh man. All right.
because today is the day that he leaves for summer camp. Your son, Henry,
Hank Dean.
yeah. When he gets upset at night, you call him Hank the Crank. I mean, some nights where he just like doesn't want to go to bed and like
Sure,
just
yeah.
fussy or whatever, and you're like Hank the Crank, right? And you do that. Just you know, it eventually like starts the process. It's like your way of letting him know, like, hey, buddy, come on,
Yeah, come on. Okay.
yeah, it's time. You know,
Okay. How old is Hank?
and so he is 9 years old.
All right.
Hank rules. He's curious. He's inquisitive. He uses big words, advanced language for his age. He's a reader.
Oh,
He's a
cool.
sweet, kind, sensitive boy.
Sweet.
And this is like his first trip to summer camp. So you guys like, you and your wife, Portia, you and your wife, Portia, do a lot of like research, and you guys had some friends who had kids that went to this camp the last couple years and said they enjoyed the experience. There might even be some people that he is familiar with from school, or it's like it's not like a super local thing. It's like maybe an hour outside of Austin. Um, but there might be somebody there that he knows. It's kind of that on like a regional level. It's called uh Camp of Dreams. And it's like a little bit of a STEM thing, they've got like classes for kids. There's a lot of like downtime, a lot of leisure, a lot of social, right? It's a nice, like well-rounded thing with like a schedule in place that you guys can like follow along with.
Okay.
Uh and the guy who owns it, he normally is like kind of hands off, but he's decided like so he owns like
What
six
do you
different
mean?
summer camps. So he owns like different summer camps throughout the state of Texas and like the Midwest in general. And so he kind of like rotates every summer. He like dives in and he is like a camp counselor at one of his camps and he gets
Oh,
like the
okay.
full summer long experience. And this is his year at Camp of Dreams. This is where it is in the rotation, you know. His name is Jürgen Lefferschlatt.
Where is he from?
His family is German.
Wow. I'll say.
Jürgen, so he is going to like come in and he's going to be a just like a regular camp counselor. He doesn't want anybody to treat him any differently. He just wants to be a part of the team and help out where he can and make sure that these campers have a great summer experience.
That's cool, I guess. Is he like good at it?
I don't know. I've never like he's unranked.
But I mean, like, is he good to work with, or like, is it weird to work with the
I,
owner, or
no, I don't think so, but he is definitely unranked as far as like camp counselors nationwide.
unranked?
Yeah, yeah.
Why would he be?
By by Camp Counselor Quarterly.
Oh, good.
Camp Counselor Quarterly is a quarterly magazine that puts out um they put out 4 issues a year, and the summer issue is jam packed. Okay, the
Yeah,
summer
I
issue
would
is so
expect.
full. The other 3 issues is just a loose leaf sheet of paper that says "See you in the summer." So they do their like yearly rankings of like best camp counselors, They break it down by, country and then by region and ultimately by state. It's incredibly thorough. And Jurgen is not ranked nationally. He doesn't really have enough time served to be ranked like regionally or like in state because it's been so long again because he rotates every 6 years, So he just doesn't have a lot of service time built up, but he is unranked, and he doesn't expect to be ranked. Some people, they did Camp Counselor Quarterly, they did a an interview with him one time, talking to him about what he looks for in counselors, what are like green flags, what are red flags,
Yeah.
and just thought process of how he hires staff, all that stuff. And he they kind of rib him. It's being honest, they
Wow.
rib him a little bit, and they're like, Jurgen, you've been a camp counselor for 20 years, but you're not ranked. And he's like, oh, I am. I rotate. I don't build up enough service time to accrue a ranking.
Sure.
I'm never in, two places, in consecutive years, so I can't build up a ranking. But I am a good camp. He's like, trying to let people know that hey, he's a good fucking camp counselor.
Who reads this magazine? Who
Camp
could find this?
counselors,
Who could find this interesting?
a lot of advertising execs, it's the camp community as a whole just kind of dives in every year. A lot of them will like start a subscription in the summer and then just cancel it after that edition. It's a pretty easy, workaround if you don't want to pay a quarterly for being a quarterly when it's so lacking in content the other three, issues a year. And they're aware of it, their numbers show it. But, a lot of people read it in the summer. It's a big beach read. It's in every single Sprouts in America.
Oh, okay.
Just the summer edition. They also cancels their subscription the other months.
Why even
But
put
yeah,
them out? Why put them out?
because that's how they've done it for 55 years, Pat. That's how they've done it. It started as Camp Counselor Quarterly. It's going to stay Camp Counselor Quarterly.
Okay.
It's how they do it.
All right. Awesome.
So, you you pack little Henry's bags in the car, right? Portia hops in the front seat with you, and you
What kind of
guys
car is
take
it?
off. It is a uh, uh, Toyota Camry hybrid.
Okay.
You just got it, you know.
Cool.
This is like the first like trip you're making with it. You got it last weekend. You turn the car on and you look back in the back seat and you say to Henry, you say, Henry, let's see how this baby does. And Henry's like, yeah, Dad. You know, you look at your wife and you fucking smile.
Yeah. What does she
It's
think
a
of it
moment of
of our bit?
domestic bliss.
Oh, okay.
She puts her sunglasses down and she kind of rolls her eyes in a loving fashion. You guys head out west. You're going to drive about an hour, 90 minutes somewhere in there outside of Austin, right? You get out to Camp of Dreams. You find like the unloading zone, right? You check in little Henry. You get your bags right there. There's a counselor with him. They're going to walk him to the cabin where he's assigned, where he'll meet all his bunkmates.
Cool.
Your wife holds your hand and she grips it in a way she's never gripped before. There's like a real sort of element of fear in a way. You're entrusting your child, the most precious thing you have in your life, to this person, and sort of this like ritualistic experience for kids at this age.
Yeah.
And she's probably feeling it'll be the longest that you guys will have been apart since he's been born. He's
Oh,
gonna be
wow.
gone
Okay.
for he's gonna be gone for like a whole month. And parents deal with that in different ways. And she's excited to spend a month with you, but also like nervous and anxious about the prospect of Henry going away. So Henry waves goodbye. His counselor, Jennifer, leads him by the hand to the 9-year-old cabin, the cabin for 9-year-olds. The cabin is also 9 years old. The cabin was actually completed on the same day that Henry was born.
Really?
The moment that your doctor took his, the moment your doctor, like you hear the snap of his glove coming off after delivering your baby, is the moment they close that fucking front door for the first time.
Wow.
Jurgen looks down and in unison with the doctor across, the state, they both say 9:23 a.m. They both call it out at the same time.
Oh man.
I mean, Henry doesn't know that, and nobody. I'm probably the only person who knows that, and I just told you, so
Okay.
whatever. So they show Henry into his bunk. You and your wife get in the car. You drive back home. You get a fucking BJ on the road for the first time in a decade.
On the road. Wow.
Yeah, little RH roadhead. We'll just call it
Yeah.
what it is.
RH.
Yeah. And you think, well, this is going to be an exciting month.
Yeah, it fucking seems like it.
You guys stop off at a Chili's.
Fuck yeah.
You have lunch through the open blinds of the Chili's. You feel the warm sun on your skin. You watch your beautiful wife drink two margaritas, and you think, man, I married a handful.
Uh,
Good thing I got two hands, right?
I think
You go
that.
home. Yeah, you think that.
Right.
You go home, right? You spend an evening with Portia. You guys go to put on a movie, and the phone rings. You look down. It's from an area code you don't really recognize. You don't know. You answer it, and it's Henry on the other side of the line. You go, hello, and he's like, Dad, and he's like sniffling. He's kind of, he's like
Oh no.
crying, and you're like, hey, buddy, what's up? And he goes, I don't want to be here, and he's like sniffling and
Yeah,
crying, right?
sure.
And you guys, you put the phone on speaker, and Portia's like, mommy's here, and you guys like talk him off the ledge, and he tells you that the people are mean, and that his counselor is mean and scary, and that he just doesn't want to be there. And can you come get him? And you're like, man, it's so late. How about you sleep on it tomorrow? Go get a breakfast. You're like, call me after breakfast, and we'll talk about it. He's like, you had a long trip in the car. You're probably just tired. He goes, get a snack, go to bed, and get up tomorrow, and it's a new day. He goes, you're like, it's okay to be homesick. And he kind of like, you calm him down. And you go, do you think you're just being homesick? And he's like, maybe, you're like, okay,
Poor kid.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. You hang up. The next morning, you, uh, you wake up, you get a phone call from Henry, and he's kind of sobbing again. He's like, I
Oh
really don't
yeah.
like it here.
Hmm.
He's like, my counselor's this mean guy, and he's real scary,
What do you mean by that? That he's scary.
that he yells at people, and he tells us that we're never gonna be good enough, and that our mommies and daddies might not come back, and they might leave us here,
What?
and we'll have to make baskets forever. And he's like, Dad,
Jeez.
I don't want to make baskets forever. And he starts openly crying, right?
Holy shit. What is happening at this camp? This is not good.
You're like, you kind of get like a weird vibe about it. So you tell Portia, you're like, I'm gonna go check this out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to them. Like, I'm gonna see what's going on. So you spend the drive by yourself, like going through all the different scenarios in your head of what could be happening, right? You get there, a counselor meets you out front, and you're like, hey, I'm Pat Dean. I'm Henry's dad. And they're like, oh yeah, yeah. They go, yeah, he's had a tough time adjusting, hasn't he? And you're like, yeah, he's like, he keeps telling me that his counselor is mean.
Yeah.
And they're like, who does he have? And she checks the flipboard. She goes, oh, he actually has Jurgen. Jurgen is his counselor.
Yeah, he said that they have to make baskets forever. I mean, that's kind of weird.
And she kind of laughs. She goes, "No, Jurgen is just very slow with basket weaving." She goes, "So sometimes the classes take forever." That's probably what he means by it.
I mean, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. That's probably the bit more of a reasonable explanation, I guess.
And
I
you're
guess
like,
I'm
"Can I
like,
see him?"
yeah, I would ask to go
She's like,
look.
"Before you go," she goes, "You should probably meet Jurgen just to like have an adult conversation before the child knows you're here, you know."
Okay.
So you go to an office building, right? You sit down at a desk. A short gray-haired man sits across from you. He is probably about 5'6". He's very lean. He's very tan. He has piercing blue eyes. He walks in. He says, "Hello, Mr. Dean." And you kind of stand. You shake his hand. He's got a firm fucking grip. He says, "I hear there's a problem with Henry. He doesn't like me."
Well, I don't know if he doesn't like you. It's more that I don't know. I think maybe he's a little intimidated by you, maybe.
Kind of runs a hand through a salt and pepper beard. He goes, "That makes sense." He goes, "I have a German temperament. American children are not used to it." And
You've been a
you're
camp
kind of just like,
counselor for 20 years. You haven't learned to like not do that?
he looks you right in your eyes and he goes, "The summers have softened me, Mr. Dean. I assure you."
This guy
He
is
goes,
freaking strange.
"Rest assured, everything is normal.
Okay.
Henry will be right as rain."
Okay. Uh,
He
yeah.
says, we have prepared a private lunch for the two of you."
Oh, okay.
They
That
have
was
like a little
nice.
side room, that's, whatever lunch. You kind of sit in there. They bring Henry in. He gives you a big hug. You know, you're kind of just like, "Hey, I met your counselor." And Henry's just like, "He's so mean." He's just like,
Yeah, he seems weird, man.
yeah. And, you have this lunch. Henry's just like kind of walking this line between like being uncomfortable and just being homesick. He's a 9-year-old kid. It's his first time away, and you and Portia have plans coming up. So you're like, you need him to like stay there. And you kind of talk to him and you're like, "Hey, buddy, me and your mom, we're going away for the week and we're going out of town too. We're going to go to camp too." He said, "We're going to stay in a bunk too. And so it's really important that you're here having fun at camp while me and your mom do this."
Here's what I would also do is I would go, I'm going to talk to him. How about I get you to switch to a different counselor?
He's like, "That would be fine,
Let's
and you're
do
like, "I'll
that.
see what I can do." Right. So you have a nice lunch. You're like, "I'll call you every day. We'll talk every day." Right. You drive home. Everybody was busy when you went to leave. Right. So you go home and you're like, "I have his business card. I'll call him, whatever." But there's just something about it that you just like can't get it out of your head. Like it's just weird. It's just like a weird, strange interaction with like a bizarre person that you just can't quite seem to get past.
Okay.
You get home, Portia meets you at the door, and you're like, "Yeah, what? He's definitely weird. He doesn't seem like warm or comforting at all."
And he's
You're
been
like,
doing
"I
it for
don't."
so long.
You're like, "I don't get a great vibe." You're like, "I don't think he's dangerous, but I don't get a great vibe." Right. And you're like, "Man, I wish I could just like go there, just like make sure he's okay."
Well, I would call.
Portia kind of looks at you. You go to pick up the phone. She grabs your phone. She kind of puts it down. She goes, "Let's get you into that camp." And she
What?
does makeup on you, and she has like a wig, and she dresses you, and you look like a small child. Like you. You look like a 12-year-old boy. She dresses you with like a
Holy
swooping
shit.
brown wig,
Oh man,
right? Shaves your face. She gives you rosy cheeks. She puts like a cute gap in your teeth, even dresses you like a 12-year-old boy.
that is so weird.
She drives you up to the camp and she drops you off, right? You just kind of like you walk into like the 12-year-old bunk and you're like everybody kind of like looks at you and you're like, "Hey, what's up? What name would you give yourself?" It's like a fake identity.
Oh, John Mitchell.
You say, "Name's John Mitchell. I'm a few days late." You kind of shake the hair out of your fucking eyes.
Holy shit.
All the other
Okay.
12-year-olds, all the other 12-year-olds in the bunk are like clearly intimidated by you because you're bigger than all of them, you know.
Yeah. Oh man.
So you know, you kind of like say hello to everybody, you claim a spot, right? And when you have free time, you're like walking around. You know where Henry's bunk is at. You kind of like stand off by your like you don't ever participate in like any of the games and stuff. You just like are there to monitor Henry, right? And you're there over a couple of hours and you're kind of just like watching him from like the woods, you know, or like a faraway place. Night falls. You sit out on a dock near like it extends out into the pond. You smoke a joint that you snuck in your sock. You didn't tell Portia about it.
No.
You scratch your head from that itchy fucking wig. You exhale smoke into the night sky. You put it out on the planks of the still warm dock being beaten from the sun all day. You stand up off of the milk crate you were sitting on, and standing at the other edge of the dock is Jurgen. And he goes, "Hello, Mr. Dean."
Oh shit.
He kind of like you hear like the thud of his shoes as they like clank off the boards. It's slowly echoing off the surface of the still pond.
Why are his shoes like that? Like they're steel?
He says, I love to tap." And he sort of like he starts like tap dancing back and forth on this dock.
Hmm.
You know, he's like very fucking good at it, right?
Okay.
He tap dances for like 30 seconds. And he goes, "I am a man of refined culture and taste, Mr. Dean. Why do you not trust me with your son?"
Um, I gotta be honest, it's because of things like this. Because rather than just like confront me when you know that I'm here, you show up late at night, you just kind of stand there creepily behind me, you do a theatrical dance, like everything about you is strange. This is weird. Do you understand that this is weird?
He peels off a fake mustache.
What the fuck?
He throws it onto the surface of the pond. You see a big old turtle just come up and eat it. And he goes, "That mustache wasn't real either." And then
Dude,
he says, "Or was it?" And he turns, and when he like brings his head back up, he has another fake mustache perfectly in place. But now that you know it's
uh,
fake, you can't help but recognize that it's fake.
yeah, man, I'm gonna get my kid. I'm gonna go. This is really weird. I came here to
And
just kind of check on things, and you're making me feel really strange.
he kind of laughs. He goes, "Oh, there's no leaving early, Mr. Dean.
What?
Not for real campers or fake ones like yourself."
What?
Yeah, he goes, "You have to spend the rest of the summer in our camp."
I walk past him. Fuck this. Absolutely
You
not.
walk past him. Uh,
Fuck
he
you.
says, "I wouldn't come any closer, Mr. Dean."
Go fuck yourself, dude.
He kind of smiles. You see the glint of the moonlight off of his teeth. You hear like the thud of your own footsteps, just clomp, clomp, clomp. You feel a little bit of off balance walking on this dock. It sways a little bit
Oh,
as
it's
you
I hate
move.
fucking hate those.
Right? It's the fucking worst.
I hate those.
And you kind of like walk past him. You brush by him. What do you say?
Nothing. I just keep walking and I go to the bunk that Hank's at. I don't say anything. I just get him and we just leave.
He goes, Mr. Dean, one more thing.
What?
You turn and look at him.
No. Keep walking.
He
This guy sucks so bad.
you hear like a thump of like a big fucking spotlight turning on, brimming with electricity, right? You look over, there's a
What?
large amount of dirt. There's like a camp counselor standing on it. He's got a torch in his hand. He's like waving it in the air. And you hear Jurgen say, I saw your lovely wife drop you off today. What is her name again?
What the fuck is this?
And you see you look over and there's like a big mound of dirt, like a hill,
Yeah.
right next to the edge of the pond, right? Out in the middle of the pond, there's like a little island, and there's like several camp counselors out there, and they're all just like pulling on like a chain. And this
Yeah.
hill is like lit up by this spotlight. You look back at the spotlight, Ben Sholok is working it.
Really?
Yeah, Ben has just been running spotlights all over the state for a few years now. It's just a thing he's been doing. So Ben's got the spotlight tight on this like hill with a ramp, and you hear the drag of this chain, and you look and you see your wife in the front seat of your car at the base of this hill.
Yeah.
And Jurgen goes, At Camp of Dreams, we do not tolerate rule breakers. And he snaps his fingers, and the people on the island in the pond just like yank the chain, and they pull your wife's car up the hill, and it flies into the pond.
Oh
And you
shit.
just see it bubble, bubble, bubble,
Oh
right?
no. I try to dive into the pond.
Well, you
I
take
was
a
a
step
lifeguard for a
towards,
long
take
time,
a, you think that, you think of like, this is the perfect time for me to call in my years of training as a
Hamlet Swim
lifeguard and like
Club
get her
with
out of
Brian
there.
Crane.
You, you go to like take a step, you like take a step towards like the bubbles that are coming up from the bottom of the pond,
Oh
and
man.
Jurgen sees it, and he does like a tap, and then he flicks his foot in your direction, and the metal part from the shoe like comes off, and it pierces you in the throat.
Oh no.
It cuts your fucking aorta, and you bleed out right there. Your blood just
What the
draining into the
fuck?
lake where your wife is passing away.
What is this guy's problem? Why is he like this?
Oh man, dude, he was unranked and he was not happy about it, and he just took it out on you.
That's the
He killed your
worst answer I've
he killed
ever
your wife.
heard.
He drowned your wife, and he
Jeez. And
cut
then
your
he
throat with
stabbed
the
me?
metal from his tap shoe.
What happens to Hank?
Oh, he becomes a care of the state. It gets real rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hank.
Yeah,
Man, I'm so sorry.
he was such a bright young kid.
He was. Fuck. Oh man. Wow.
And he fucking died.
The whole family. They slaughtered my children's parents. Not good.